Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a cinema for all of your city building needs. In Minecraft, the cinema features a nice, sleek, colourful modern design. It has a large foyer, which includes a place to buy confectionery such as popcorn and hot dogs. We even have ice cream. We also have places to pick up our tickets. There's a comfy seating area where you can sit and wait for your film to be ready. And of course, there is a giant screen that you can watch your film on. This is where I'd watch films with all of my friends, if I had any. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button so that you get kept up to date with all of the awesome videos that I'm going to be making in the future. But without any further ado, let's get started. Now, just before we begin building, ladies and gentlemen, here are all of the materials that we are going to be using to make this part of the cinema. Please do make sure that you have access to all of those and enough of those materials as well. If we need more stuff later on, I'll be showing you more item lists like that one before we actually begin building, so don't worry, you won't be caught off guard. The amount of space required to make the cinema is a 30 by 42 block area. This is represented by the white concrete grid down below. Feel free to build this in your world if you are planning out a city. It will be immensely helpful. And that's it. Please pause the video if you have to. Gather all of those materials, make sure you've got enough, make sure you've got enough room to make it, make sure you know where you want to make it. And once we're ready, we can begin. Step 1, movie theater friends. Come all the way to the front left-hand corner of your grid, if you've made it. If not, we shall be beginning shortly, so don't worry. From the corner, count backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then to the right, by 2. So that's 1, 2. This position here is where we are going to start the cinema. So I want you to place a row of 9 red concrete going right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then place 2 black stained glass pane. 1, 2. Place a single red concrete. Leave a gap of 2. 1, 2. Place a red concrete and place 2 glass pane. 1, 2. Place again another row of 9 red concrete. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That will give us this row. However, we want to extend that row of 9 concrete backwards towards the back of the build by 34. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Now that we have counted out that row of 34, extended backwards from the second row of 9, we can extend across the back of the build using our red concrete like this. And we can then connect all the way to the front of the build. That way, we don't have to count out any more egregiously long rows. We will just be left with this shape. Now, once you have created this shape, it's time for us to refine the entrance area, as this is one of the more complicated parts of the build. I want you to begin by extending up these 2 middle red concretes, each by 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Additionally, extend up these red concretes here just to the sides connected together by glass, also 1, 2, 1, 2. You can even join them all together at the top. You can extend them out to the left and right by 1. You can extend those extender blocks upwards each by 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Join it together at the top. We are then going to extend the entire rectangular shape forwards, like this. It's going to be extended forwards by not only one row, ladies and gentlemen, but we are going to be extending that shape right there forwards by another row. So add just another row of red concrete extended outwards. Now, this might seem like a lot, but what I also want you to do is extend the 4 original rows of red concrete outwards as well. So this is really going to highlight the entrance, create depth, and it will just look really cool. What else do we want to do? Well, we want to place white concrete inside of the outward middle part of the rectangular shape, like this. That is going to be a sign that we will add details to later. The next thing that we want to do is we want to create a popcorn, a big bag of popcorn resting on top of the sign. The easiest way to place it is by starting with the top front left hand corner of the build here, where we have this rectangle. You want to count to the right by 1, 2, 3, inwards 1, and then you want to place red concrete, right of that, white, red, white, red, white, like this. And we are going to extend the side blocks inwards, and we'll place a red, white coming backwards from the white, and from the red side, white and red. Now, all of these blocks want to be extended upwards by 3, so every single one of them, 1, 2, 3, they want to be 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and of course, the same with the white concretes as well, and this is going to make the bag or bucket, however you want to say it, the bag bucket of popcorn resting on top of your cinema. But additionally, other than the popcorn, we have more detail. So, if you take the upper right-hand corner of the bag of popcorn, you want to place yourself a black concrete to the right of it. You also want to extend that black concrete down. Extend it to the right so it's sticking outwards from the bag. You then want to place light grey concrete to the right of the black. You then want to extend the light grey concrete upwards by 2 rows, 1, 2. We're then going to extend left, up, left by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down, left, and then down by about 3, 1, 2, 3. So, we will have something which should look like this. And we are just going to fill this shape in here using black concrete. So any parts that are exposed, mainly out of the top, above the popcorn area, I just want you to fill in with black concrete like this. So that's how it will look. Additionally, we are going to cut out a little bit of black. So we're going to cut out here where it connects to the top of the side of the bucket on the left, and diagonally coming up and inwards. And we'll do the same here on the opposite side, and we're going to place yellow concretes inside of these. Now, this is a movie reel. This is all the way back when, I don't know if people still actually like shooting this, but this is how movies were actually like recorded and filmed and displayed, by using like movie reels. You might have seen it in games and stuff, but what we're also going to do is extend backwards the light grey concrete. We're going to place a row of black concrete coming out of the back of light grey. We're going to add another row of light grey concrete behind the black, and we're basically just turning the movie reel into a nice big shape. So you can even fill the back of this in using black concrete. You can fill the entirety of it in, because it's not going to be seen rarely by very many people. You can add the same yellow concretes that you added on the front, so you might want to place a couple of them there, and then maybe like an additional one coming down, like maybe leave a gap. But something like this will be fine. Trust me, very few people actually see the top of this, so it's no big deal. If you wanted to add even more detail, the center of movie reels, like there's a hole in them so that you can actually mount them on the projector, so you could even add like a little bit of light grey concrete if you wanted to. It's a very small detail that, again, very few people will even see. But now that we have done that, ladies and gentlemen, it looks a little bit weird now, but it'll all come together, trust me. We want to add a bit of popcorn into the top of the popcorn cup. I don't know what to call these things, like in the bag of popcorn. We're just going to add a little bit of sandstone slab, and we're just going to kind of like extend it out on the sides a little bit. We want it to cover up, and we just want to have like a nice big mounted heap of popcorn, just like this. You know, it wants to look nice and normal and natural, and that's pretty much all you've got to do. Probably you don't have to add much for it to look good. Like now, from like looking down upwards, like that looks pretty good, right? I'd recommend the sandstone slabs because of the texture on these sides. Like it literally looks like popcorn, which I mean, it's a really cool effect. So the next thing that we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to build a little bit more structure to the cinema. So the cinema has like an upper level sort of structure, and to do this, we're going to first of all have to place on top of the big, large, the huge rectangular shape that is the side of the cinema. I want you to place this sequence of blocks, and you do this all the way around. It's dead easy. You place 2 rows of white concrete, red concrete on top. That's literally all you have to do, and you want to extend it all the way around the base of your cinema. That's all you'll have to do. So again, 2 rows of white, red on top. We'll also be adding on a little bit of a roof. However, we'll save the roof for last because the roof is going to take a long time to do. It's made out of quartz slabs, you see, so you have to be kind of tricky with slabs. You know, slabs can be kind of tricky, I should say. You don't have to be tricky with slabs, although you kind of have to defeat them and to master them and being able to place them in any way that you want. But we're going to be using slabs, so we'll maintain the structure of the building. We'll make it all nice and cool looking. Then we'll chuck a roof on it, and we can add in like an interior floor and what have you. But this is what we are going to be looking at with the 2 rows of white, which means all we have to do, of course, is add the red concrete directly on top. And this is going to be the lower half of the cinema. You won't really get to experience the upper part of the cinema that we're going to be making. You're mainly going to be walking around within these walls here, the lower ones, not the upper ones that we're about to make. But just to give you a bit of context, you can place quartz slabs half a row higher than the top of the red concrete, half a row higher, and around the top of the red concrete. So you'll kind of get a bit of a gist on how the roof is going to look, or at least the lower part. The upper one is identical, but you know, we're not there yet. But this is how it's kind of going to be placed together, and it looks really, really nice. There's something about red and white for some reason, maybe it's because of the popcorn too, that really makes the cinema just feel good. The next thing on our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is this. So there are 2 little points of detail just left and right of the sign that I want to add. I want you to place on top of the red concrete of the roof, left and right of the sign, I want you to place 2 yellow concretes coming outwards, 1, 2, extend the yellow concretes upwards, and then place red concretes on the outside of the yellow concretes, on the actual, like, the sides and above them, connecting to the top of the popcorn. I want you to do the same on the opposite side as well, so it's 2 by 2 yellow concrete, and then red concrete kind of just accented around it. It looks really good like that. And now that you have done that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, doing a really, really good job here, the next thing we have to do is whip out the white concrete. Now, the white concrete wants to be placed pretty much behind the edge of the red concrete that we just placed, except it wants to be extended outwards like this. So it's basically extended left and outwards, and then above. So it is almost as if the white concrete itself is kind of like going around the red concrete the same way that the red concrete went around the yellow. And we want to do this on the opposite side, and that's actually a good way to think of it as well. Like the white concrete is like going above and outside of the of the red concrete the same way that the red did the yellow, and it will give you this sort of shape right here. Now this shape is very, very important, as you want to extend the sides of the white concrete shape backwards. The sides of the red concrete shape backwards, and you want to extend it all the way back, literally, like as far as it will go and connect to the quartz slab, and you'll want to do that on both sides. This is going to solidify the shape of the cinema. You kind of get a really good gist of how things look from here. So you can see now we have all of that white concrete laid out. The white concrete needs to be made as high as the white concrete on the front of the build, so that should mean adding about, I think it's 3 rows of white concrete on top of the shape that we've just made, and then beyond that we have to add roofs and stuff. But you will find that at this point in time, for the most part, we have created a large amount of our cinema, which is really, really cool. We've done a huge amount in regards to our cinema thus far. Once we have placed these rows of white concrete here, you can see that we've built up the upper part, which looks really, really good at the moment. I would like you to also place that row of quartz slab all the way around the top and outside of the white concrete shape, because that will just look really, really cool. So quartz slab all the way around the top of the white concrete shape that we have for the upper part of the cinema. And the cinema has to be this high, by the way, because of the screen. Just in case you were wondering, like, the reason it's so tall, especially in the middle, there's a screen and there's seats and stuff that cannot be encompassed by just the lower half of the cinema, and it makes it look more impressive. So you can see right now, the cinema is pretty much just a nice blank slate. So regrettably, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the tutorial where we have to make the banner sign. My least favourite part of every tutorial, but once it's done, it's done. To make the sign, you are going to need, and I'm just going to chuck all of these hotbar materials away. You'll need a crafting table, 6 white banners, loads of yellow dye, and a little bit of white dye. You can start this off by chucking a crafting table on the ground. You only need one, and if you're in creative, you can then just toss it. So I'm going to crack open the crafting table, and the first thing we have to do is make C. So that means a brand new white banner in the middle of the table, with yellow dye coming up the left side. Grab that banner and place it in the middle of the table, and place yellow dye along the top. Grab that banner and place it in the center of the table, with yellow dye coming along the bottom. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is C complete. The next letter is I, so you can place a brand new white banner in the middle left of the table, and yellow dye coming straight up the middle. Grab that banner, and that is I, so we have C and I. Grab a brand new white banner, place it in the middle of the table, yellow dye coming up the left side. Grab that banner, place it in the middle of the table, with yellow dye coming up the right side. Grab that banner, place it in the middle left of the table, very fancy, and place yellow dye, top left corner, this is going to seem confusing at the moment, top left corner to bottom right corner, and that is N. So the next letter we have to do, we're halfway, is E. Brand new white banner in the middle of the table and yellow dye up the left side. Grab that banner and place it in the center of the table with yellow dye along the bottom. Grab that banner and place it in the middle of the table and place yellow dye all along the top. So it's very much like C, except we grab that banner, place it in the top middle of the table with yellow dye coming along the middle, and there you have E. That leaves 2 letters. Grab a brand new banner and place it in the I always get this wrong, in the middle of the table with yellow dye. No, you place it, I remembered, the white banner in the middle top of the table with yellow dye left, right and below. Very important, because we then grab that banner and you place it then in the middle of the table with white dye left, right and above, which you then want to grab, and then all you have to do is place that banner in the middle of the table with yellow dye coming up the left side, grab that banner and then place it in the middle of the table with yellow dye coming up the right side, and then you will have M. Perfect. So all we have to do is have we begin by placing a white banner in the middle of the table, yellow die coming up the left side, grab that banner, place it in the middle of the table, you can place yellow die coming along the top, grab that banner, place it in the middle of the table, with yellow die coming up the right side, grab that banner, place it in the top middle of the table, with yellow die cutting straight through the middle. So, we have C-I-N-E-M-A, cinema. Feel free to write whatever else you want in here, but cinema's just kind of like, it's just like a nice easy word, rolls off the tongue. You could put movie theatre, you could just write movies, there's all sorts of things you could write. You want to begin your sign, and it's quite easy because you place it in between these two rows of white concrete and it lines up with the popcorn perfectly. So you can place C-I-N-E-M-A and you can see it actually lines up with the popcorn, which is great. I'm going to keep a hold of these banners until we've completed the build, and I'm going to chuck it in a chest next to this crafting table because you never know when you're going to need them again if you accidentally destroy them, and I do not like making them. I know that a lot of you guys don't either, so you got to keep them safe. The next thing that we are going to do is a lot of cosmetic stuff. So we're going to be using paintings, sea lanterns maybe. We need smooth stone, we need oak doors, we need oak wood planks, we need a little bit of quartz slab, and we need some glass. First, because it's been driving me crazy, I want to connect the windows on the front of the build all the way upwards. So now we have 2 open windows. I also want to, just because I thought of this, we want to place red concrete underneath the windows as well, because otherwise we'll just have grass there. The doorway to the cinema is right in the same line, so you can even probably destroy these 2 blocks here and place oak doors on top. So that's the entrance pretty much taken care of. On the cinema, or at least the one I go to frequently, is a load of posters. I like the idea of having a couple of posters, maybe 4 of them, on the front of the cinema. The best way to space them out is this. So we're going to have 1 poster here, so I'm just going to create a divide here and here, because I want a 2x2 poster. So 1 like that will do fine, 1 like that will do fine. And we want the same on the opposite side as well. So here, and it would be, the divide would be here. Preferably not the same ones. Okay, you know, most of the way there. That one will do. That's perfect. Those are actually, they're pretty much my 4 favorite, like, 2x2 paintings. I know, I'm sad, I have favorites. So if you like, I'm not sure if I like this detail, you can hang lanterns off the roof, hanging in between the actual posters. Not 100% sure I like it. I'll leave you guys to be the judge. 3 important things we have to do from here that are not going to be very pleasant whatsoever. So, first of all, and these are all going to be done off screen by the way. First of all, I am going to dig out the entirety of the grid around the outside of the cinema. So I'm going to completely dig out all of the grass and the grid and everything that I created on the outside of the cinema. This is what the area will look like once you have completely dug it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place smooth stone in all of the empty space that I've just created. Feel free to choose a different material if you like. Smooth stone's a really good one though. And this is what the area will look like if you do decide to place some smooth stone in there. I think it looks really nice. The next thing that we have to do is we have to dig out the entire inside floor of the cinema because I don't really want to be walking around on grass. So that will of course mean literally ripping up the entire floor of the cinema. You can see it's going to take quite a while, but this is what the area will look like once you have completely just dug it out. And the next thing that we want to do now that we have indeed dug out the floor is replace it with our good old handy oak planks, which will of course look a little bit. This is what the entire floor will look like once it has been completely filled in using oak planks. Oh boy, does that take a while, but we're not quite done, ladies and gentlemen. The next thing that we are going to do, which is quite time consuming and lengthy, is we have to roof. The roof. So the roof is made out of quartz slabs, and there's two parts of it. We have the lower roof down there, and we have the upper roof up here. And all you have to do is literally just connect all of the quartz slabs together. It's kind of pretty much laid out for you already. So all you have to do is just fill in the two sections on the left and right, and then this upper one, which again will look a little something. This is what it will look like once you have a brand new shiny quartz roof absolutely everywhere. And it is literally everywhere. If you take a look on top of the cinema, that's all that you're going to be able to see. Now, I'm not crazy. I do understand that all of those things take a long time to do, ladies and gentlemen. So all you're going to have to do, if you want to accomplish all of those things yourself, is of course pause the video. Make sure that you have all of those things done for yourself. The floor on the outside, the floor on the inside, and the roofs. That'll all take quite a while to do. And once you are ready to proceed, all you have to do is, of course, press play. And then we can move on to the inside of the cinema. Oh boy, I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to decorating the inside of the cinema. I'm actually surprised at how bright and light it is inside here. But we are going to have to grab a couple of different things. So for a lot of the inside work, and all of this will have been included in the very first item list, you need red concrete, white concrete, yellow concrete, grab yourself some block of iron, sea lanterns, grey concrete, black concrete, some note blocks or jukeboxes, whichever you prefer, and grab yourself some quartz stairs. We'll need loads of other stuff as well, of course, but I'll let you know well before we actually get building. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to cover up this. This, what we have created, the inside of the building. I want you to basically just add another wall inside of the front of our cinema. And all that means is literally, if you just kind of pay attention to where the wall is, you just want to have your two rows of red concrete like this, right? Just like this. And we're just going to extend this here. We're going to add two rows of white concrete so that we just don't have two funky, weird looking walls like this. We're just going to make them nice and plain. We can extend across over this row of red concrete at the top here. And then we can fill in, majoritively, if we just fill in all of this with white concrete, I think that we'll find that the ceiling will take care of the rest afterwards. But if you just kind of just polish it up a little something like that will actually go a long way. So the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to come to the left of the cinema, the front left corner. I want you to begin in the corner, funnily enough, and I want you to place, in total, I want you to place 7 red concretes coming backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Leave a gap of 4. So 1, 2, you to place 7 red concretes coming outwards, like this, which is pretty much perfect. So the next thing I want you to do is take this corner block here, and I want you to extend it to the left by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Connect down. Connect to the front of your cinema. And also connect to the opposite side of your cinema. So you'll see that from the edge here, and what you can also do is you can connect this corner as well across. And you can connect the bottom here across as well. You can see we are creating a framework. So now that we have done that, you can actually fill these two walls in here using white concrete, because these are going to be separated. These two rows of white concrete here are going to give us 2 different utilities. On the left side here, you'll be able to buy popcorn, hot dogs, that sort of stuff. You'll be able to book tickets, pick them up. And on the right side, it'll be ice cream, and you'll be able to also pick up tickets. It's actually very similar set out to how the cinema that I use is, hence why it's kind of got ice cream and stuff, because I love cinemas that have ice cream, don't you? Anyway, the next thing that we're going to have to do is create a bit of a ceiling as well. So now that we've kind of got the framework worked out here, I want you to place a row of red concrete above and inside of the top of the center area. It will look like this from the top. So it will look like a big rectangular squarish shape. But from below, it will give you a really cool depth effect. We want to fill it in using block of iron. This will give us a different texture to the walls, but still maintain the red and white that we have been using throughout the entire build. Additionally, by adding in a false ceiling here, we cover up a lot of the imperfections left. I want to use sea lanterns as light because this is quite a modern feeling cinema. The sea lanterns are going to be placed in between the windows/door areas. There's going to be 2 rows of them, and I don't quite know. I'm probably going to have like gap of 2 sea lantern, gap of 2 sea lantern, gap of 3 sea lantern. That way we have, yeah, that's pretty good right there. So that way we have an equal amount of sea lanterns. You could even place maybe like 1 in the middle here if you wanted to, depending on how much light it is you are actually trying to bring in. But I think you'll find that it's quite nice with the sort of like little dusky feel that you have. We have to make ceilings as well for these areas of the cinema. So what we're going to do here is we'll add a row of red concrete at the base of the 2 areas. So like on the back wall. We'll place a row of yellow concrete on the left and right to connect them to get that yellow involved. And then we'll place block of iron like this as an actual ceiling. And then we can kind of figure out from there where we want the lanterns to be. So there is a middle of the ceiling, so that might be the best solution. And I don't know how this will work. So if I just start off by placing 1 every other 1, that's not too bad. That keeps that area nice and bright. We can do the same on the opposite side. So again, we'll be placing a false ceiling using red concrete at the back, yellow concrete to connect the left and right sides together, front to back, and then just some block of iron in the middle, and then we can find the middle, and then we can place our sea lanterns in there. So we want to place, just running up the middle, every other block basically, starting from any side, we have sea lanterns. And it's not too bright in here. You can feel free to add a load more light and what have you, but I think that's pretty good. And that gives us a huge structure in regards to the front of the cinema. If you want, you can kind of like section that area off using either some yellow concrete, or you could even use railings or something later on, or you could use fence rather than railings. But this is kind of like the front of the cinema. This is what you would refer to as, I think, the foyer, which is, you know, you get your food, drinks, you hang out, and then the back part of the cinema is where the screen is. So we have to make all of that stuff now, actually. We have to make where the screen's going to be. So this is pretty much how we're going to work things, right? I want you to come into the second half of the cinema, and I want you to start on the left side of the build, and I want you to leave a gap of 4. I want you to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4 on the ground. Place a row of 3 red concrete coming up from the 5th block in the ground. 1, 2, 3. Extend to the right by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then down. I want you to do the same on the opposite side. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, red concrete, up 2, left by 3, and down. Like that. It's as easy as that. What we're now going to do is just connect the bottom together using red concrete. And then we're going to add 2 rows of white concrete on top, just like this. And then we're just going to add another row of red concrete, which will take us pretty much up to the top of the ceiling here. So that means that we have to fill in the ceiling, and I don't mind a low ceiling here. So what we can do is we'll just start off by, what can we do? We'll place a row of red concrete on the front and back part of the ceiling, so horizontally, just like front and back. So this will just bring it in. You could even use yellow, you could use white, you can use all sorts of different colors. And then I'm going to fill it in using block of iron, and then I'm going to figure out where to place the lights after the fact. I might even join the red concrete on the edges here as well, because I think it might look a little bit better if I do that. But it's looking very, very dark here, so we've got to figure this out very soon. So, where do I want the lights to be exactly? I want a light in the middle. And that's just going to be like 4 sea lanterns. Like, I want a light in the middle. And then I think that the cinema will actually divide into 2s. Oh, that's perfect. So if you place a light in directly in the middle and then leave a gap of 2, and it will actually perfectly form itself as you come along the side here. And that'll be just fine. And that'll provide you a nice amount of light. Now this area here, and you can get rid of the yellow guiding rows if you so choose. Now this area here is where after you've bought your tickets, after you've collected them, after you got your food and all that, sometimes you got to wait, haven't you? They've got to clear out the screen and the seats and stuff. Some people leave loads of mess. I really dislike that. If you leave mess, just take it out with you. That's all you got to do. Sometimes you've got to wait. So I'm going to create a set of chairs. The chairs are going to start on the left side here, 1 row away from the entrance, and I'm going to place a red concrete, gap of 2, red concrete, so on and so forth until we reach the other side, and it will like this. You place quartz stairs in between, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's just like a set of seats. So, what else do we have to do in terms of structure? That's a lot of structure. We'll do decoration and stuff later on, but that's a decent amount of structure complete. So, we're actually going to head into the actual cinema room. This area here is where we are going to be watching the films and stuff. Like, this is such a huge area. The screen's going to be on this back wall. But we do have to prepare the area a little bit before that. So first of all, we're going to extend the entrance areas forwards, right? So the outer shape of the areas, we're going to extend them forwards about 5 rows, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows extended forwards. And this is basically, you know, sometimes, I don't know if it's like this in absolutely every single cinema, but it has been in every single one of mine. You've almost got to walk through like a tunnel to get into the actual screening. And that's what these are. We're just creating the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tunnels that we've got to walk through, and then we get to enjoy our film. That's pretty much all there is to it. And this takes you to the seats, it takes you to the screen. We can add some, I probably wouldn't add lights in there. There's not really usually lights in there, I don't think, but that will give you this sort of structure. But what you can do is you can extend the red concretes upwards, and you can join them to the top of the building. Like if you extend the red concretes all the way up like this, you can really turn it into something that looks cool. Like that looks really, really modern. And it also covers up the somewhat ugly empty space that we had before, right? It was a little bit bleh. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like that, right? So now we've got 2 pretty decently clear areas. So next, I want to add seats. So the seats begin as soon as you exit the tunnel. Like you've got the rows of seats that come up and they're kind of staggered, and they're about 5 rows wide. So 5 quartz stairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming inwards from both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to stick a red concrete on both ends. And I then want you to place red concrete behind these areas, like this. So just completely behind. And then add another row. And on top of that second row, I want another row of quartz stairs, like this. So you can see that you've got a little bit of foot space, and then you've got another row of quartz stairs that are a little bit higher. Feel free to stick a red concrete on the ends, and then add red concrete. Add 2 rows of red concrete coming behind the seats, like this. And then we'll make our 3rd row, which is all the way up at the top of the cinema. You don't really get any higher than this. We can stick red concrete on the ends here, and then quartz stairs in between, just like this. That's perfect. This back wall is actually going to be made... It's going to be made out of two different things, but first I'm just going to quickly get rid of note blocks for a second. I'm going to grab quartz slabs because we need to be able to walk up in between these seats. So you'll find that if you place a row of ascending quartz slabs leading all the way up to the top here, and we could even place some quartz stairs in between the double row because you don't have to go any higher. And then that way, we can have like 4 sets of quartz slabs that just lead you all the way up to the top back part of the cinema. Above here is where the projector is. Now, I'm going to destroy all 4 of these red concrete blocks, and I'm going to place grey concrete in there instead. I'm going to extend the grey concrete upwards on both sides by 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to join it together at the top. We'll be making a little mock sort of projector there later on. We have to fill the rest of the wall in using some white concrete, because you could use red, but white just seems to work a little bit better. And I'm sort of thinking now, right? Do we want to kind of stagger the white concrete? What I mean by that is, do we want to create a little bit of... Do we want to create a little bit of depth like this and place the white concrete behind? Does that look cooler, or does it kind of just look, do you even notice? I'll kind of let you be the judge. I'm going to place this first row first, and then you can kind of figure out for yourselves, is this worth me doing? I don't know, it might be. So, like that. I mean, that looks alright. All you have to do then is, of course, just extend the red concrete backwards on both sides. So, like, here you would extend it back, and then here you'd extend it back. And then that way the projector kind of like makes a feature of itself like this. And we have an additional row for the ceiling and stuff as well. Speaking of which, by the way, the ceiling is quite easy to do, and I want to add it in here now. We're going to add red concrete all the way up at the top here, all the way up at the back, coming across the top of the back where the projector is. And we're going to extend the red concrete where we have like the entrance areas here. We're going to extend that forwards. It will connect to the front wall. And we want to connect it all the way back, like to the opposite side like this. So essentially what we'll be doing is we will be creating a nice big empty sort of space like this. And it looks quite good this way. I'm going to fill in the bottom part of this overhanging like quartz / white concrete area. I'm just going to fill that in with red concrete, and I'm not sure whether to leave it at that or whether to add like another row like there. Again, I think that's kind of like a more judgmental thing, like, do you want to do that? Then you feel free to do that. But yeah, maybe I designed it that way, obviously, for some reason, so I'll have it like that. That doesn't look too bad. So you can see the ceiling's looking pretty good. We've got a nice big empty open space. We are going to redo the ceiling in block of iron, so that's exactly what we're going to do now. This is actually going to be quite a time-consuming part. Unfortunately, we cannot really, unless we drop the ceiling down a row, so we create kind of like a mock ceiling, we can't really just like dig in up above us, because that's where the actual roof of the building is. So we can't like just dig that out and place like lights in it, unless we also want lights on the top of the roof, which is not something I actually want, to be honest with you. So the best option really is probably just to add something like this and then add some lights in it. You're going to be a bit hard pressed if you want to use a lantern. Your best option, I think, really is the sea lanterns. When I say lantern, I mean the glowstone lantern, or the redstone lantern, rather, or the lamp, whatever it's called. Anyway, we want to add a few lights inside here, and I'm not sure where I want them exactly. Like, I might line one up. So dark, I can barely even see. We might line one up with where, like, the center of the projector is, so about here, right? Just like a double light here. And then, how does it work out if we place, like, if we leave a gap of... it doesn't work out that well. Like, if we have lights right in the middle there, like, you've almost got to place, like, they've got to be a little bit off center. But we could line them up with, like, the center of the seats, actually. So, like, the middle of the 3 seats here, so they can all have light. That might be the best way of doing it, kind of like this. So, like, up the center of the walkway, and then here. I want to create some more seats, by the way, before I add in any more lights, because I want to be a little bit strategic with the lights and the seats and stuff, okay? So I'm going to leave a gap of 2 between this row of 5, and then I'm going to create another row of, maybe another row of 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gap of 2, row of 5. And then you don't have to leave that much room, like all you'd have to leave is just like in front of this, you just have to leave like pretty much like a gap of 1. I don't know how many rows I want exactly, maybe just 2 rows will actually do, right? And it kind of depends how I want the seats, like do I want single seats like this? Or do I want kind of like, you know, maybe we have kind of like a mixture, maybe we'll have like a couple of double seats, and maybe we have kind of like a couple of single seats like this. But what I think would be beneficial is if we had lights in the same sort of fashion that we have here, except if we have them in the middle of, I want them to be split here, where we have these seats. So that would be, I think I'm lining this up correctly, that would be here, and then it would be here, and here. And I don't want too much light inside the cinema, of course, because you don't. I mean, it's a dark area, you don't really want too much light. We could build some into the sides here as well if you wanted to, but again, I kind of want it a bit dark and ambient. I have to fill in behind the projector area here with something, so that's, I'm probably going to use a little bit of block of iron for this as well. And I'm just going to have it like set back a little bit like this. Just a little bit of block of iron like so, here, and here. And we're just going to have like a little projector just sat inside there, which we will do a little bit later. But more paramount to us at the moment is the cinema screen. So the cinema screen is dead easy to make, like it's literally, it's like one of the easiest things to make. But what I want to do is on the left and right side, I kind of want to make the kind of like fire escape doors so that you can get out the back of the cinema. So I'm just going to knock out, I'm going to place 1, 2, 3, a corner of 3 red concrete here, extend across to the side by 2, and then down. And I want the same on the opposite side, so knock out these 2 and place some red concrete like this. So people can actually get out in case of a fire. Every single cinema I've been in has like a little fire exit like this. Plus it makes it easy to travel to and fro the cinema. On the outside, you might then choose to add, like, maybe highlight the doors if you like, or maybe don't. It's kind of up to you. You could highlight the doors using a little bit of yellow concrete. I'm not sure if I like this, but I'll probably just leave it like that anyway. And then that way, we have 2 exits. But in placing those doors, we actually do ourselves a favor, because we can place grey concrete in between them, like this. We can add a couple of rows of grey concrete, 1, 2, maybe something like that, in front. And we probably don't even need 2 rows of grey concrete, to be honest. You can probably just have the 1 row and then it will just stick out like this. And then I'm going to need some note blocks. And the note blocks are obviously to represent speakers. So this is on the left and right side. I'm going to have a row of note blocks, 1 row away from the top of the ceiling, and then I want to place black concrete in between. I mean, cinema screens are so simple, you can pretty much just like no blocks on the side, or you could even just have like a huge black screen. It really is up to you. You could even have it come all the way up to the top if you want. Shall we see how that looks? Will it look silly? Will it make the roof look silly is what I'm kind of interested in. How does that look? Probably looks a little bit more impressive that way. So what we could then do, if we wanted to, is we could just add the row of red concrete here. And then that'd be fine, because we've only got lights like here and here anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So we've created quite a cool interior to our cinema now. So now that we have completed the main structure of our cinema, ladies and gentlemen, inside and out, now we are going to be adding a little bit of decoration, which requires a few different materials. So, on the screen right now are the materials that we are going to be using to make the inside of this part of the movie theatre and the little area outside where all of the seats are. So please, do make sure that you have access to all of those. I know some of them are weird, and once you're ready, we can move on to the next part. So, the first thing that we're going to do with our new set of materials is make some proper fire doors. The fire doors are left and right of the screen towards the back of the building. Now, the fire doors are going to be marked out by placing an item frame above them, blaze powder inside because that looks like fire, and then on the left and right side we'll write like, on the left side here we'll write like fire, and then on the right side we'll write like exit, or you know, something similar to that, just to make it look a little bit more legitimate. And then you can place yourself like a door on there as well, so you can place this pretty much anywhere, but I just like the idea of having a couple of fire exits, and it just kind of shapes the inside of our cinema as well. Like you can see it kind of added shape to the screen, and it makes sense as well, like it's a cool thing to have, and then you can walk in and out of the cinema nice and easy. So we have 2 fire exits on the left and right. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is make the projector all the way up here. So the projector's quite easy. If you place an anvil here on the outer part of this grey concrete area, and if you place an item frame in front of it, you'll have to crouch. White concrete in front of that kind of looks like an old school like projector, sort of. I'm going to place a little bit of black stained glass pane like around it, kind of like this, and then that's pretty much all that has to be done there. When it comes to the floor of this place, by the way, we don't need most of this. We definitely don't need the oak signs and the blaze powder. You can maybe grab some white carpet and red carpet. I don't know whether I like the idea of having a little bit of carpet on the inside of our cinema. Just a little bit, maybe like on there, and maybe just like here. I don't know whether I like that or not. Like, I just don't know. I mean, I get it's kind of going to be up to you guys as to whether you like that or not. I like it when carpet kind of tells you where to go, or if it's just for just pure decoration. I don't know whether this kind of ruins it by adding the carpet in or not. And I certainly don't really want it like all the way up the middle. Like, do I you know, this is kind of just options. Like, do you want to have a few rows of carpet there and maybe just have like some yellow carpet? You could even have like yellow carpet here leading across. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not you like that. That's going to be completely your choice. Anyway, the entrances / exits on the left and right need doors on them. So I'm just going to use oak doors, and I want them to be specifically on the outer parts like this. I'm gonna have a few item frames with like discs in them, because they kind of look like old-fashioned, like old-school movie sort of things like this, kind of like some discs. I don't know why, it just kind of looks cool, or at least I think it does anyway. I want the same thing on the opposite side, of course, so we place doors here and here, specifically facing outwards the doors, and then we can place like discs like here in the middle, and then kind of like here, and they are staggered a little bit, by the way. They're not the same on both sides, and you'd probably use different discs as well. Like, just don't stick to the same discs unless you've been a little bit lazy like I am. So we can close these doors because we've actually put a finish on that particular part of the cinema, and we can focus a little bit on this part. That part's done. So this part here is going to have a lot of pictures and stuff. So I'm going to use a little bit of torches, but mainly it's going to be lanterns, which I don't have on me, but I'm sure I'll have included them in the item list. I want above every double seat, I want a double framed picture. Like, I want a 2x2. So I'm going to place paintings in all of these places, and I'm going to hope... What are the odds of that happening? Are you for real? That's almost so perfect that I kind of want to leave it, and I'm also kind of furious at the same time. Isn't that kind of cool? What are the odds of like getting the same picture on both sides and it being perfectly balanced? I almost want to leave that, but the idea is we want to have a few... No way. We want to have a few... Are you kidding me? We want to have a few different posters. Okay. Perfect. We want to have 5 different posters across there, and then if you want, you can have doubles. Like, You can have doubles like here on the sides, but I want a load of posters everywhere as to represent a few different kinds of, a few different films. Maybe even like one here in the middle, but these are basically just movie posters and stuff. I'm getting a little bit frustrated at the frequency of the, I call it kind of like the wither poster. We don't want that one, do we? That one will be fine. And if you like, you can hang some lanterns in between the posters on this back wall. And you can even place like a couple of torches perhaps on the sides of these posters, more so on the front wall. And it just gives you a nice little effect. Now, something that you might want to do is you might want to, again, I'm really tied up about this whole carpet situation. Like, is it a good idea to have, like, carpet leading, kind of like just leading you through the middle? Like, is it good? Does it look good? Does it look right? I really don't know, and I can't really answer that for you. You can, these are the places that I'd add carpet if I liked what I saw, and I don't know if I like what I see. And I kind of want to add it inside here as well, like inside the door, so I can't add it there, can I? So I kind of like the idea of having a bit of white carpet actually on the inside, because we've got so much red, but outside here it is kind of like a mix anyway. So I'm not 100% sure on any of these, but these are the sorts of places that I'd add carpet. Maybe even, you could even just kind of like exclusively add it, like, if you wanted to, in front of the seat areas, if you wanted to. Maybe that'd make more sense. Maybe add it a little bit just like in front of the seats. Maybe just a single row for people to just kind of like park their feet a little bit. Maybe. Does that look good? Does it look bad? I have no idea. I mean, it kind of sort of looks inviting, doesn't it? It kind of does sort of look inviting, and then you could have kind of maybe just like another little patch here, just to show where the actual entrance to the cinema is. That doesn't look too bad. As I mentioned earlier, and I don't actually have these on me, but it will have been in the item list. You might want to replace the actual, like, the yellow concrete that we have here with, like, birch fence or something similar, some sort of fence. It might look a little bit better. And you might want to put like a lectern next to it so people can actually, like, they can check tickets and stuff. And if we use a little bit of red carpet, that might actually be cool on top here, or maybe like on every other one, something like this. Maybe like that. And that way, I mean, it's kind of just like an area where people check your tickets before you actually go into the cinema. And what else could we do? Well, we could add a little bit of something underneath here. We've used a lot of red, so what if we add a little bit of white underneath the fences here? That'd actually look kind of decent. And you know what? Something that we could actually do as well is if we use a little bit of birch fence, red carpet, maybe even a bit of white carpet, is before we actually make the areas, we can maybe kind of like rope them off a bit. So if you add a couple of rows of birch fence, like mainly like here on the left side here, if you add a little bit of birch fence, like leave a gap of 1 or so, maybe add like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even like 5 birch fence, and do the same sort of thing on here. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that would be good. And if you want to add like a little bit of red and white carpet as well, just to kind of like make it a little bit more inviting on top of the fence, what this will do is it will kind of just keep things separated a little bit. Like it might sort of intrigue people into these two little areas. And I'm also going to add a bit of carpet as well. I'm going to add 2 massive streaks of carpet. Well, 2 alternating streaks of carpet. I want to have red and white carpet like this in streaks up the center of the entrance area. And I think that it will look quite good, and it will cover up a lot of the empty space. And all we're trying to do is we just want to kind of shrink the space a little bit, make it nice and bright, and we don't want it to touch like the birch fenced areas. And that'll pretty much be all you have to do with all of the materials that we've grabbed now. Now we have completed, like, we've added a little bit of excitement to this area. We've kind of completed the back part of the cinema where you wait after you've had your ticket checked in, and we've actually completed the inside the cinema itself. So next we are going to be using all of these materials that you can now see on the screen right now. So these materials are mainly going to be used for the areas where you will be picking up your tickets and where you can buy confectionaries. Confectionaries meaning popcorn, hot dogs, that sort of fun stuff, and some ice cream as well. So do make sure that you have access to all of those materials that I just showed you on the screen. Okay, so once you have finished grabbing all of those materials, we can now move on to the final part of this tutorial. So the first thing that we are going to do is make ticket machines on the left and right side of our build. So they're actually built in the same place in the left and right side, and they both start in the corners here of the ends of these little alcoves. So all you got to do to make a ticket machine is very easy. Light grey concrete on top, item frame, something that looks like paper inside, button below, and they're just like ticket dispensers. You can probably get fancier with those, but that'll do the job. Feel free to leave a gap of 1 and place some more machines coming along the side. I like 3s for some reason. When it comes to numbers, 3 is one of my favorites. So feel free to place about 3 or so ticket machines. And we'll do the same on the opposite side as well. So we'll have like a light grey concrete gap, light grey concrete gap, and then some grey concretes on top with something that looks like a ticket, hence the paper, and then buttons below. There we go. And they will have 6 nice operational ticket machines. I also want to have some potted plants though, so I'm going to leave a gap of 1 between the end ticket machine, and I'm just going to have a little potted plant here coming up from the ground to the ceiling, and that will kind of just like, I don't know, it's kind of just inviting looking. You could even have the same, by the way, like maybe next to the entrance here, you could even have some potted plants, or maybe here. Nah, probably not. We'll probably leave it at that for the potted plants, just those ones there. Well, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add 2 posters. So just to kind of like fill a little bit of space, I want a poster here, except I want it to be specifically an upright poster. I don't know if there's any way to make it do it. There we go, perfect. So an upright poster like that. Pinocchio is actually perfect as it's actually a movie. And I want the same on the opposite side here. So I want like, I can actually place it easier on this side. Like, perfect, the exact opposite. So there we have guy who kind of reminds me of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. So we have that all there. If you want, you can even add like, you could add signs above these, and the signs that say like what movies are on and what have you, but I don't feel as though there's any need to go into that sort of level of detail. Now, once you have completed that, we're going to focus on the left side area here first. So the left side area here is more for like hot dogs and stuff. So I'm going to leave a gap of 2 between the counter space at the back here. I'm going to leave a gap of 2, and we're going to place, coming from this wall left to right, 2 grey concrete, 4 glass, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to stick 2 grey concrete, or maybe even just 1 grey concrete actually. And then we can place maybe like a grey concrete coming backwards, or maybe we can have like a light grey concrete or something like that, and then we'll have a little bit of boundary on the side. Now, we're just going to get rid of these materials, and we're going to grab ourselves like brewing stand, flower pots, furnaces. We'll need quartz stairs, item frames, white carpet, red carpet again because I forgot about them, and oak trapdoors for this side will pretty much cover it. So what you can do is you can place an oak trapdoor here, and then that way you can flick it up and down, and you can walk in and out of the counter area. We can place a quartz stairs here in the corner, and that just acts as a cash register. I'm going to place alternating white carpet and red carpet on top of the glass. Now, the reason that this exists, by the way, is this is where like you'll be able to like scoop out popcorn and stuff. If you want it to be a little bit more, what's the word, authentic, then you could actually grab yourself like a little bit of what has a sort of textured top, kind of sandstone does here. You could actually like dig out this area here and place popcorn underneath, and then that way people actually know what that's supposed to be. But in doing that, you will have ripped up the floor, but it is a good little bit of detail. Like you know how sometimes they just have like popcorn here and then they scoop it out in there, and then they put it in the thing, and then you get it. Yeah, that's pretty much all that is. Along this back wall is going to be stuff like you'll be able to get drinks. So if you have some flower pots and alternating brewing stands, if you have a row of furnaces above as well, if you advertise what you're actually selling in item frames, and we'll grab those later because it's going to be quite a meaty part of the inventory. That'll pretty much do it though. I mean, if you like, you're more than welcome to add a little bit of carpet, like just in front of, maybe around the counter space like this, if you so choose. Maybe a little bit of red, maybe a little bit of yellow. We might try yellow later to alternate the colours a little bit, but that'll actually do as a confectionery area. If you like, you're more than welcome to add a slight little bit more detail in like chests and stuff, but you don't have to add too much, to be honest. Like you could add chests to keep the popcorn in and stuff, and you know, it just looks kind of good like that. But after you've completed that side, we can flip over to this side and we can do a similar sort of deal. So on this side is where we're going to have ice cream and stuff. So we're going to need a little bit, and for some reason I don't have it on me, but it will have been in the item list. We need a little bit of red concrete. So that's what we're going to need first of all. So on this back wall is where ice creams are going to be. So we've actually got to leave a gap of about 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to place red concrete and extend it left by probably about the same amount as we did over there. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll do. That'll actually do. That'll be fine. It can be, no, maybe 6. We'll make it 6 because then that actually does line up. That's perfect. And then we'll place a red concrete, leave a gap, red concrete. Place an oak trap door, and then that way you can get in and out of this area as well. We want a till, which is going to be a quartz stair or a cash register, however you want to say. And we're going to need a little bit of glass pane. The glass pane is kind of just going to be to protect all the ice cream. It's going to sit all the way around. You leave a gap of 1 so that people can actually pass stuff next to the register, but pretty much glass pane all the way around there. And we're going to have some cauldrons here, and the cauldrons are going to sit behind the glass, and they will contain the ice cream flavors. Well, beyond that, you're more than welcome to add some, say, like white carpet around the edge of this area here, just to diversify the little bit of colors and stuff, just to make it look a bit more interesting. That's looking pretty good. We need some item frames up on this wall as well, just to kind of explain what is being sold. But now, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be where we can pretty much just get rid of all of this stuff, and we just need to grab stuff to fill the item frames in. So first of all, we'll start over here because this is where we start, and then we'll work over there. So above here, we sell drinks and we sell coffee. Actually, my actual cinema has a Costa coffee. I don't know whether you have it in America and different parts of the world, but it's a huge chain here in Britain. So we can have like cocoa beans. Neverwalk kind of looks like a different variety of like cocoa beans or something, so we can actually use that a little bit as well. And then we can sort of advertise food and stuff that we have. So, you know, we can sell here, we can sell like bread, kind of looks like hot dogs sort of. We can sell like sweets in the form of like cake and cookies. We can have like hot dogs in the form of like cooked beef, because cooked pork kind of looks unappetizing, to be honest. And we can just fill in these item frames. Like, I mean, you could even just exclusively use those for these item frames, and then like something like this for these. You'd probably have cookies more so than cake in this particular shop, so you just want to have stuff to fill the item frames in pretty much. And once you've done that on that side, you can actually come all the way over to here, and this is going to need a whole load of different complex materials. So what you're going to need is how many colors of carpet? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to need 4 colors of carpet that are nice and colorful. You can even have like maybe vanilla. You could have maybe like Neapolitan, like brown, yellow, and pink, and then maybe chuck an oddball in there in the form of like maybe like I already have yellow. Maybe like the form of like just chuck white in there, and you just want to place these on top of the cauldrons because that actually looks like ice cream sort of. In these back item frames, I recommend just chucking snowballs in there. You can chuck snowballs, or you could have kind of like, you could have a snowball, and then you could use like a shovel as kind of like, maybe like, that's the kind of ice cream you get where you get the little tiny, like the little spoon that you get. You could have varieties of flavors in these back ones as well. They could correspond with what you have down below, but you know, a variety of flavors in the form of, like, you know, strawberry, probably orange, vanilla, lime, something like that if you wanted to. And what I'd also recommend is like having storage for ice cream back here as well. But what I find really cool for this, cool, is I like using, say, shulker boxes. So different colors of shulker boxes would look good, just spread all over this back wall. It'd look as though that you've actually got a huge amount of ice cream just like back here. They just look colorful, and it just seems to go well. And you could, of course, like put signs in, and you could make it all detailed. I actually think that, like, this is kind of like the perfect amount of detail. It's simple but detailed. It looks nice. It looks really good. And ladies and gentlemen, we've actually kind of just sort of completed our cinema, haven't we? We've kind of done the entire thing now. I think we should probably take a look at this place, make sure that we've done absolutely everything right, and once we have made sure that everything's correct, we can probably say our goodbyes. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what the cinema will look like once it has been 100% fully complete. Outside, we have a great sign that lets us know exactly what this place is. It has popcorn on top, it has an old-fashioned film reel, it has movie posters on the sides lit up with lanterns. The entire rest of the outside of the build is completely color-coded as to how the rest of the cinema looks. We have a couple of fire escapes on the back so that nobody gets burnt alive in the cinema. That's top priority number one. As we look around the side of the cinema, you'll notice that there's not many windows, and of course that's because we don't want to let too much light in when it comes to our cinema. If you enter the cinema, you'll notice that on the left side we have a place to get popcorn, and we can get some sandwiches and some sweets and maybe even a hot dog. We can pick up our tickets from the ticket machines. On the right side we can get ice cream, and we can also get our tickets on that side too. As we come towards the back of the foyer, we have a place where we will get our tickets checked, and beyond there we can sit and relax in seats and check out posters and upcoming movies as we wait for our cinema the cinema to be ready for the film to be queued up. And if we enter any one of the sides of our cinema, you'll notice that we have a little bit of decoration. But as we get into the actual screen, we can see a huge massive screen with speakers running up the sides. We have plenty of seating on the floor, but also we have stacked seating towards the back. We have a little bit of light in here, but not too much, as we have a projector as well at the back of the cinema. This is quite a meaty build, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this one. Whoa, that was a big one. I do hope that you just fell in the hole there. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please do remember to hit that like button, as it really helps me and the channel out very, very much. If you're new around here and you like this sort of stuff, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. If you want to see a specific kind of build, if you want to see a building specifically, leave a suggestion down below. I do listen to you guys. I do listen to your guys' suggestions. And please, also, if you want to check out any more of my other city-related builds, you can check them all out in the card system, the description below, and at the top of the comment section too. I'll leave a comment pinned with the city builds playlist. We make a huge variety of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We make such a huge, different, weird variety of stuff. You guys will never get bored with the channel. We make so many different things. That's a card system, the description below, and the top of the comment section. You'll be able to find that comment pinned, and it'll have a link to the playlist. Thank you to everybody that left a suggestion that I should make a cinema. This was one of the more fun builds that I've designed and made, so I hope that you guys appreciate it as well. But thank you everyone that left a comment. I do appreciate all of you very, very much. Much love to everybody that has been supporting this series on the channel. It's seriously my favorite thing to do on the channel. I love building all this stuff for you. Love you all very, very much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.